Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom. And in this video, we're going to be looking at a series of videos on crash course, specifically on outbreak science. All right, and yes, the hair is in pigtail braids. It's wet. I'm not going to mess with it. No, it's in braids time. So let's get back to the topic. And yes, there is a cat in my lap, so if you see me moving things, the cat and the calico's in the lap. All right, so let's look at our topic for today. So this is where I'm doing a bunch of videos on vaccines. So this, since obviously I'm not going to cover outbreak because that one is adult and two is wrong. And we don't want to go there. So these were filmed about a year ago. So this is a series. So there's, how many videos are there? Next to the introduction, there's 16. So there isn't basically a preview of Crash Course Outbreak Science. Then we have an entire episode on what is outbreak science. And then, which basically talks about what the science is. What were we talking about? What specifically is the science of looking at outbreaks? The next video covers how do outbreaks start, pathogens, and, well, here, how about before I do this? The preview is only about about 4 minutes, 21 seconds. These are short videos. So the outbreaks, what is outbreak science, is only about 11 and a half minutes. And they pretty much cover most of that. So the next one's about 12 minutes. So how do outbreaks start, pathogens, and immunology. So basically that's talking about basically the immune system and what the things are that we're trying to fight against. So, and the next one is, why do we have fewer outbreaks? Epidemiological transition. So that's talking about why on earth are we not getting sick all that much? Because remember, in the past, we had various things of the bubonic plague. Tuberculosis was running rampant. Smallpox, measles, mumps, rubella, dysentery, you name it. Children did not have a very, very high chance of living. The infant mortality rate was very, very high. And it talks about why. Now, one of the big reasons, of course, is, at least in a lot of modern countries, is sanitation. You stop pooping in the streets, throwing things in the streets, and you get a sewer system, and things get better. So, and of course, we discovered germ theory, and we're able to get rid of some stuff. Why do outbreaks the next video is why do outbreaks affect people unequally? So this one talks about issues like poverty and people who are nomadic and are unable to get access to vaccines or clean water and are exposed to a lot more stuff. So then we have the next video, which is the weaponization of outbreaks. So this is talking about how various countries have experimented with and some ancient country wars have involved utilizing that outbreaks as a weapon. One of the more famous was them. Yeah, can't remember what war this was. This was Middle Ages here, where they were throwing dead bodies into a city that were covered in bubonic plague and killing people. So, and other stuff and different ideas that were going around. And then the next one is, how do we know we're sick? So this is talking about basically various different symptoms and how are people getting sick and stuff like that. The next video is, how does the healthcare system work during outbreaks? So this is talking about how different healthcare systems react to an outbreak. Or don't react to an outbreak. So again, this was only a year ago. I'm filming this in 2023, so this was filmed in 2022. We're in a retro where we've had a recent outbreak. So it's talking about that and how the healthcare system reacts. Next video is, how do we investigate outbreaks? Epidemiology. So this is talking about how do we know there's an outbreak? What are the steps? What determines what is an outbreak, kind of thing. It's very interesting. Now, remember, all of these, I think the longest one is like 13 minutes. Yeah. Biggest one so far is 4, which is how do outbreaks affect people unequally. That's about a little over 13 minutes. So And the one that I'm talking about, which is 8, how to epidemiology, is about a little over 12. And then the next one, which is the 9th video, how do we predict an outbreak in the future? So it's talking about how on earth we figure out, okay, what is this going to happen? When is this going to happen? How can we predict outbreaks? So this is modeling. Basically, we're figuring out, okay, how could this happen next? I don't know if we're very good at it, or at least governments don't pay attention. Because yes, prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, most people in the medical community said, we're going to hit another pandemic. Please pay attention. They weren't. Obama did, but, Trump. Moving on. The next video, which is the 10th one, which is a little over, just exactly 11 minutes, oddly enough, is how do public health tackle outbreaks? So this is talking about, rather than just modeling, is how on earth what do we do in the public health sphere to actually deal with outbreaks? So the next one is a little over 12 minutes. How can cooperation end an outbreak? So this one talks about how when people work together, when governments and medical people and sanitation workers and the community work together to end an outbreak. And yes, it can happen. Next one, which is a little over, almost 11 minutes. How can infrastructure help us stop outbreaks? So this one goes into a little bit more on good sanitation and cleaning up the streets and getting clean water and improving infrastructure and how this would stop outbreaks. Okay, the next one, we're almost done, is the 13th video, which is what is outbreak culture? So this is talking about how culture affects what happens when people are sick. I think one of the big things they talk about is the AIDS epidemic, where it was stigmatized, so people were afraid to get help because they didn't want to be labeled and stuff like that. The next one is how do outbreaks end? Vaccines and recovery. So this is talking about, obviously, the creation of vaccines, how vaccines help end an outbreak, and how we recover, which is complicated because a lot of times it's financial and community rebuilding. If you lose a lot of people, things change. The bubonic plague changed the face of the earth. I think COVID did too. All right, almost done. So this is the last video, which is a little under 12 minutes. So how are we all part of the ending of outbreaks? So this is the last one. This is kind of concluding it. It's like, what can we do to help outbreaks? So this is a decent size collection of videos. It's done by the host. Let me give it to me on this one. Yeah, and I can't pronounce her name. Dr. Pardis Sabeti is her name. So she's an expert in this. So this is a really good collection of short videos from Crash Course, which are very, very trustworthy. This is created by the brothers Green, Hank and John Green. It's also connected with places like PBS and various universities to provide valuable information to the general public. Though, of course, a lot of this is geared at children, particularly in the middle school, teenage years, or adults. I found it very interesting as an adult because it does go over. It's very animated. They're very short. It covers the basic history of outbreak science. And so as homeschoolers, if you're studying how outbreaks happened, and I know obviously a lot of us who have survived the current, unfortunately still ongoing COVID pandemic, which has now become endemic. If you don't word what that means, basically it's common. We're no longer in a rush to fight this. We have vaccines, we have treatments. People aren't dying in the large numbers that they were, at least not intentionally. It's like, if you choose not to get vaccinated, yeah, for whatever reason, unless, of course, you medically can't. The people who are, your doctor says this is a bad idea. You are immunocompromised. Do not do this. Which are the people who are trying to protect with herd immunity, or, babies. Yeah. Yes, I'm talking to Republicans and anybody who's anti-vax. yeah, you're on your own. But the problem is they're filling up the hospitals again in various places and dying. Not that we care that they're dying, unfortunately. I'm sorry, I do not care at this point. It is 2023. Get your bloody butt vaccinated. Listen to your doctors. Behave. Me and my husband are, I think we've been vaccinated 4 times. My daughter's been vaccinated 3 times, and she's 3. But yeah, so it's pretty much become endemic because it's just, it's here. It doesn't seem to be going away. And unless levels rise unusually, like we go through what was happening in the very beginning, we're getting millions and millions, and a lot of people are sick and dying. It's endemic. It's just here like the flu. Not that it's anything like the flu, but it's like the flu and the common cold and various other things that kill people occasionally and are diseases that are running rampant. So that we can prevent because vaccines. So it's become endemic. But again, it's a very interesting collection of videos that really do talk through it. It's very interesting how they go over how there's inequalities, which I think is a very important thing because not everybody has access to that healthcare. Now, my previous comments are pretty much restricted to the people who have the availability, who are in the countries that can get access to healthcare. So, if you're in poor Africa, it's a little bit of a different situation. You have bad water, you have sanitations, there's other worries. In that case, it's your government's fault, and mine probably, and a lot of higher level countries. Yeah, we should be putting more money into, helping clean up messes that occasionally we helped create because colonialism. But that's another topic. Not going on here. So this is a really good group of about 15 videos, 16 videos, because I think there's a 0. They started 0 with the introduction, which is only like 4 minutes. That really talked about outbreaks and how they study outbreaks and what's going on with different outbreaks. And it's very clear. How they do it uses simple enough language that it really helps people understand what is going on and how things work and how we can help. Like, get vaccinated and listen to what your CDC, wear masks if you need to, protect people, wash your hands, common sense sanitation, particularly even during flu season. Which, yes, that can kill you too. So, do your flu shots. Yes, I'm very, very pro-vax. Very, very pro-vax, if you haven't figured that out by now. So, if you like what you see, be sure to check out the rest of the channel. I am covering vaccines. I will be covering I cover happier things, like unicorns. Literally, I'm covering unicorns. I cover Black History Month. I cover Caribbean American History Month, Jewish American History Month. I covered some LGBTQ stuff, which some of it is happy. I covered the Princess Diaries this year, and the Guardians of Ga'Hoole, and Tamora Pierce. Those are some of the book series I've covered. So I cover a wide range of stuff, from little kid stuff to older kid stuff, from films to videos like this, through Crash Course. Just because I'm covering vaccines, there's not a lot of films that are logical on educational on vaccines. And this is an entire course, and I do like Crash Course. So be sure to like and subscribe, leave a positive comment if you have one, and check out what I've got. Thank you.